I'm going to ask your forbearance. Before I went on silent retreat, we kind of broke apart that 9th Commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness. But then I started to think about it, and I didn't sufficiently break it. I didn't feel complete. So can we go back to the 9th Commandment for just a couple minutes and break it up a little more? I just feel like breaking that one. So that commandment is, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbors. And we know that means us, that we are to be integritous with our words. But what about those times when we bear witness to someone bearing false witness? What do we do then? And this is Pride Month, and people have opinions. And sometimes people express opinions, and sometimes they are expressed not kindly. And sometimes disparaging words are used. So when people have these thoughts and share them and give voice to them, they are bearing false witness. So I've made a commitment in my life many years ago, and that was not on my watch. Not on my watch would another person be disparaged or be spoken ill of or about. No person. And so what that means, that I don't just sit quietly while false witness is being spoken. I don't leave a space because false witness is being spoken. That means I stand up and I speak up. And in Pride Month yesterday at the parade, we heard a little bit of chatter. And if I don't understand LGBTQ issues, then I educate myself. I go to the resources. I educate myself about the 5 to 7 genders that the indigenous people honor and celebrate. I learn about that. I study and I learn more about the surgeries that doctors did until the mid-50s when there was any gender ambiguity at birth. And I learn about that. And I join PFLAG. There's a chapter in Aiken, and they meet online, and it's convenient and easy to join and to learn about what happens in the life of the LGBTQ plus community, and how we, as people who honor and support, can be better allies. I recognize and acknowledge that the LGBTQ plus community has always been part of the fiber of humanity and will always be part of the fiber of humanity. They cannot be legislated away. They cannot be ignored, nor will they be put back into a closet. So when we hear false witness, we can speak up and speak truth into it. And we speak it, we are made in the image and likeness of our God, of our source. And we can speak to that and honor that for every single person. So, if anyone bears false witness on our social media pages, they will very lovingly be deleted, because we do not allow bearing of false witness for anyone. We'll practice not on our watch, and we'll do it with love. We'll do it with kindness. We'll do it with compassion, and we'll encourage people to learn. And we'll live into what we say and speak every single week. We just said it in our core values. Speak it again with me. Unity of Augusta is accepting, affirming, committed, kind, practical, and welcoming. Yes, we will do that. Whew, Well, now I feel like I've sufficiently broken that commandment. So we could go on to the 10th commandment. This has been a fun process for me to remember some of the things that I've taught in the past, that these commandments are not a set of rigid rules to follow. They are life-enhancing. They are life-giving and affirming and lifting us up into how we can even better live our divine consciousness in our world. So is there any one thing that you've taken away from this series? Anybody? Anything that you remember and will do differently? That's okay. Just think about it and see what resonates. And as always, we are invited to take what resonates as truth for us, because our soul knows the truth. Our inner guidance knows what's true. No one has to tell us this is true, this is false. We know. We have a little inner compass that tells us all of that. So take what resonates as true for you and leave the rest behind for another day or for another person. So taking these commandments apart gives us, a code of conduct, how we hold ourselves in integrity to our unity principles, to our divine consciousness. And it helps us shift our consciousness and to grow and to expand it. So this final commandment says, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant, or his maidservant, or his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. Anything. You shall not covet. And Eric Butterworth shares that this idea to break through this commandment, we need to understand what covet means and to dismantle that word. So he proposes the idea that we consider covet to mean to long for, to have a great desire, or to want something passionately. And all of that is good. There is nothing wrong with wanting that intimate relationship with our God. We all desire that, or we wouldn't be here or at home tuning in if we didn't want that deeper, richer relationship with our God. There's not anything wrong with desiring that kingdom of heaven to be ours. That's a wonderful thing. That's a good thing to desire. And it's good to want the wisdom and the understanding that is our true spiritual nature, to take all of that understanding, to grow into life and to walk through the experiences of life. Someone just said this morning, oh, you can't walk around it and you can't go over it or under it, but you have to walk through the experiences of life. And that's part of it. So we experience this commandment that you shall not covet when we live from the inside out, when we live from our inside, deep inside us. And we miss the mark of it when we live from the outside in, thinking that the trinkets, the toys, everything that is so fun to have in our world, and it is fun to have things and to do things, but that is not the true essence of our life. That's the fun stuff of life, but that's not what satisfies that great desire for that relationship with God. That's not what feeds our ability to look at ourselves as divine. That's not what nurtures our ability to look at others and to see their divinity. It's this deep, rich connection with the divine that we experience within. And every single person here has a different relationship, a different depth, to the point that when we speak about it, it's very difficult to put that in words, right? How do you describe your relationship with God? It's hard for me to find the words to share that with another in a way that they can understand it, because they can understand it according to their relationship with God. So there we are. So it's that deep, rich connection, living from the inside, the depth of our consciousness, that we express the compassion, the kindness, the caring, the gratitude, and as our daily word today was, the generosity. And we have heard often, seek first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added. And what happens when we seek first the kingdom? It changes from purely seeking the things of the senses, the things that give us the physical pleasure, and seeking the things of that inner realm. That's when we seek the kingdom. That's when we seek ways to take ourselves deeper into our own spiritual consciousness. That's when we look at ways that we can advance our practices of having that communion with God. And we move from having that general relationship to moving into communion with God, to recognition of the union with God, that there is nothing that separates us, that we are one. And that's a mindful to wrap our heads around, that we are one with our source. There's no separation from us and our source. And when we live this 10th commandment, we turn from those enticements of the world out here to the inner right here. And how beautiful it becomes when we live within that spirit and we experience the joy, the love, the peace, the forbearance, the kindness, the goodness, the faithfulness, the gentleness, and even the self-control that are all fruits of the Spirit. All of that is what we experience. So what happens when we covet? When I covet, I look at what another person has. When I covet, I notice what I don't have. When I covet, I think about what another person has based on these outer appearances. And when I covet, I don't see what it is that I do have. And I say to the universe, there's not enough. There's not enough. If there were, I would have it too. So there's not enough. It may be material things. It may be qualities like faith and hope and that generosity. It might be experiences like vacations or deep, abiding friendships. Or it might be happily honoring a rich partner relationship. Those are some of the things that we might covet. And when I am in a covetous mindset, I'm saying to the universe, perhaps I am not worthy. Perhaps I am not deserving. Perhaps I have not earned abundance, good health, contentment, or love. Perhaps when we covet, we're seeing the life of another person based on a facade presented, based on outer appearances, or a social media post. People's lives look fabulous on social media. Who wouldn't want that? You know, but that's social media. And perhaps when we are in that covetous nature, we are not seeing what we do have as a safe, comfortable place to rest our head and sleep each night, or a full belly, a growing relationship with God, or the ear of a kind friend to celebrate our joys and to honor our sorrows. And this allows us to grow an attitude of gratitude. And when we're in that spaciousness of gratitude, all the world opens up. When we're living in the spaciousness of gratitude and thanksgiving for what we do have, and when I look at people around here, we have a lot. I no longer have the time. I no longer have the desire to covet what another has, because I'm basking in the joy of recognizing all that I have. So shout it out. What's one thing that you have that you are grateful for? Health, family. I have a home that's sweet. Yes, I have a garden that's blooming. Wendy. But yes. A car, yes. We all have something to be grateful for. So start with one thing. And just fill yourself with gratitude until there isn't space for anything more. And then there's no need, there's no desire, there's no time to covet what another person has. Because we are all then living the richness, the beauty, and the grace of our own lives. And we all have vastly different lives. Some are fully retired, some are continuing to work, and some are somewhere in between. And I heard somebody say today they've been on their job umpteen years and they really like the work they do. Yay! And if you don't like the work you do, find something else to do. Be grateful. Be grateful for something. And I can see smiles, so I know that people are counting their gratitudes. So we don't need to covet. There's no need for it. So we don't cover our neighbors anything. And we always remember to let all we do be done with love. Namaste.